Calvin Castine down Canal Street in beautiful downtown Champlain, and the Village of Champlain is refurbishing their water supply. They're having a well reconditioned, I think is the proper word. They've got Leon Menard and his son Mike from Menard's Home Improvements, and they are here, and they're going to clean out this casing and the well, and clean up their water act here in beautiful downtown Champlain. So we're going to be watching this for a few minutes, and we think you might find it rather interesting. Yeah, good thing. Okay, don't move on me, Ian, because the camera is not going to know that you moved. You are what's your title here at the Village of Champlain?
I'm the Public Works Superintendent for the village.
And your full name, Ian?
My first name's Ian. My last name's Fasking. Ian Fasking.
Fasking?
Yep.
Okay, and how long have you been in charge here in the village?
Just about 18 months. Just came on board not long ago.
I think we get you a little bit of your fingers in the meetings that they tape. I think we can just barely see your fingers there at the tape, the meetings that the village does. So you're doing this. This is probably the first time this has been done. Tell us exactly what we're doing here with Leon Menard and the son.
Well, the well system is just it's met its life expectancy for the well pumps and motors, and I would like to try to capitalize on when we pull the new pumps or the old pumps and motors out to just flush the system. There's a lot of turbidity and stuff that settles in those old wells, so he pumps the system and flushes it with air, and it all just comes right back out, and it just cleans the wells and makes them refreshed pretty much, so we get a better aquifer and we get more water volume and less energy to pump more volumes of water, so it just makes it a lot easier for everybody.
Now, years ago, the village used to get their water from the river. Then, do you know how long it's been since they drilled these wells?
This well,
years maybe, or you know?
This water plant was built in 1989, late '89, early '90. Is when this was all instituted, along with the wells at the same time. So that's
been 19 years already.
Yeah, they've been here for 19 years.
That's time flies, because it doesn't seem like it's been that long that the village had got rid of the river water and went to the wells. You have 2 wells, is there?
There's actually 3 well heads here. Right now we're just doing well number 2 and well number 3. In the spring we're going to address well number 1, and it's parts availability really. We can only get the well motors and the well pumps for wells 2 and 3. So it's another 6 to 8 weeks from well number 1, and that throws us right into late November, early December, and you know, with the winter months it could be a dangerous situation with all the ice and everything. So we'll just push it until spring.
Yeah, it's not the best area to work here. You've got it very high on the slope, and
exactly, it's very slick.
Snow and ice would be
even much more hazardous. This right here alone is pretty hazardous, but you throw in inclement weather, ice, it just makes it too arduous. We don't need it. We didn't need number 1 anyway right now. We're just working off well number 2 and 3, which sustains the village perfectly fine.
Okay, so well number 1 at this point is a backup?
Yeah, well number 1 would be a full backup system in the event that, well, the future will be to do number 1 this spring, and then we'll have all 3 wells will be completely refreshed and new. And when we invoke a maintenance program, we could shut well number 1 down, work on 2 and 3, or vice versa, and we would always have that third backup.
Now, when they're all working at their optimum capacity, do they all work at the same time, or do you only use 2 at a time?
They will have the capacity of 250 gallons a minute. However, the system that we have in here, which is a new telemetry computerized system, and it will only take as much as it needs.
We're going to be pulling out, come over this way. We're going to be pulling out the pipe here. It's a rubber pipe. This here, this all galvanized all the way
This top section is 3-inch galvanized, and it's going to go down maybe 15 feet. Right there is what we call a pitless adapter. Now that goes from 3-inch to 4-inch, as you can see, and that rustier pipe is the pipe that actually carries the water up. The first piece of pipe is just a conduit to get your electricals and your pitless adapters and stuff to the surface.
Okay. Any idea how much pipe you got there? How deep it is?
Approximately 100 feet.
No, it's going to get rubber pretty soon here, isn't it?
No.
How are you going to lay this out?
It'll be all black iron. Actually, what they used in the old wells was a black iron, 4-inch black iron. And as you see it come out, it'll look pretty corrosive and pretty nasty.
How are you going to stick that in the air, though?
We'll pull that section. We're going to put that collar on it right there. We'll set it back down, and then we'll take some pipe wrenches and break the steel. And then we'll take that galvanized section, we'll lay it on the ground right next to this barrel.
So it's in sections?
It comes in 21-foot sections, so it'll be 21 feet at a time.
Okay. Two village employees here, what are their names?
That is Larry Sorrell. He's the chief water operator for my whole water district. And Jimmy Andres. He's an MEO that works for the village, but he assists on everything we do, and he's learning the water plant, stuff like that as well. So.
Okay, and who's this fellow from Vermont? Any idea who he is?
His name is Mike Chevalier. It's from Chevalier Well Drillings and stuff like that. They do. I think they do more than just residential. They don't do many commercial, but working with Leon Menard, they partnered up so they could have the well drilling rig to pull my steel, and then Leon will come in and then do the flushing system.
I don't think Leon and Mike could lift that much.
No, that is a lot. That when they pull that section out, there won't be any water, but the second 21-foot column should have a column of water about 4-inch diameter, 21 feet long. So when we pulled this one last week, we didn't have a water in there, which indicated that there was a hole in the pipe, or the backflow preventer on the pump was bad, the foot valve. But
So it's a good time to get it pulled.
it was a perfect time to pull it. I have the other one at my office. I didn't know you were coming out. I would have brought it. It's pretty incredible. Perfect time. You couldn't ask for a better time. It's just before the snow flies, so we're doing really great things here. It's unfortunate that it's all behind the scenes, and the taxpayers are paying for this to be done, and we're doing it. It's not really out in the public, really.
Yeah, well, it will be now, but I have to correct you. It's not the taxpayers. It's only the water users.
That's true. I was referring to the village users
Right.
for the water district.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
No tax money goes there. These are all self-sustaining things. Water, sewer, all use their own funds, and those funds are supposed to stay within
Right.
their departments.
Our water revenue,
Right.
is paying for this.
Okay. Because somebody's going to be listening and saying, what? My tax money is going for this?
Oh, that's not.
No, we don't
I
have-
misspoke with that one.
That's right. That's what I do best, correct people. So,
I appreciate that.
all right. Okay, we're going to hit by a flying hunk of galvanized.
It wouldn't be pretty.
I'm not pretty to begin with. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Here's where the first one is, and as you can see, once that water gets rolling, it comes out fast and makes a little trench and heads downhill, of course. When water's going uphill, we're all in trouble. And well number one isn't located too far away. Here is well number one. It's just a little bit to the right. In this case, I would guess it's probably to the west of the other one. So three wells very close in proximity. So my guess is they're pretty much pumping from the same aquifer. What's known as a ball beam mechanic. Separating that section. They have the collar on the next section so it doesn't slip down. And they'll be dropping this section on the ground. This is, I believe it's the 22nd. It's the Monday in September. The day that autumn begins. I'm not sure if we're in the last throes of summer or the early hours of autumn here, but this is somewhere today. The summer will end and autumn will begin. Tomorrow will be the first full day of autumn, but today is the end of summer and the beginning of autumn, and these guys are hard at work here down on Canal Street, just off Moore Street in the village of Champlain. This is an area where they laid out the pipe last week in the first well that they did, and you can see quite an accumulation of rust. And I'm sure some of it got swept away over the weekend. Here's where they're laying out the first section that they've pulled up. When he does a home well flushing, I would imagine most of the time it's rubber piping, and I know from personal experience they just pull it out and lay it down, but the rubber will bend. This obviously doesn't bend, so it has to be pulled out in sections. The second section is being pulled up, and it come to another coupling, and that'll have to be loosened and collar put on it, and the section that's just been pulled out will be removed. Under that rust, it looks pretty good. We're about to see if there's any water in the pipe here. Looks like they're expecting some.
Quite a few gallons in there. It's going to come out all at once.
All right. The old reverse raincoat trick. Whoop. Alright, Leon's twisting again there, like he did last summer. Looks like these guys are afraid of water. All it should come out is what's in that pipe. Oh, just a false alarm. Very little water. For lack of a better word, I'll say it looks pretty cruddy right now. Is that the technical term, Ian? Cruddy?
That works for me. Yes, cruddy is.
You've got. Oh, you just threw it down there. You had a small sample. If you can pick that up again here. I'm gonna grab another sample here, like a kid.
I mean, it's not
A piece of chocolate.
It's just totally deteriorated. That's just hard water from the wells. That's naturally there. But it was the type of pipe that was used. It was a black pipe, and we're going to go with new galvanized piping. So we'll get a longer life on the pipe.
So will you replace all the pipe, or are you just going to replace what's you need to replace?
No, it's a full restoration from the pump and the motor all the way in, all new piping, all new electrical wiring. The sample tubing, we have a sample tube we install now, so we can do raw water taps right off the well system itself, so we get better sampling right from the wellhead itself.
There'd be no sense in pulling all this up and putting some of the same pipe back down there.
Correct. That would just be an abuse of the dollars that we spent here today.
All right, Larry Sorrell, what are we looking at in the inside of the pipe there?
You're looking at some black iron deposit that's inside the galvanized pipe on the coupling.
And how'd that get in there?
Through the turbidity and stuff of the water, the hardness of the water.
Looks like the Confiance anchor did after 200 years below Lake Champlain. They've peeled it back to the original pipe there. You can see how thick the corrosion is. The crud is technical term. Technical term is crud. And knocking more crud off.
See how the water's coming out? That's where she's leaking right there. I'm sorry, it is leaking down there.
There's a pipe below, or the foot valve that's leaking. Larry Sorrell, obviously people are sitting home saying, I don't want to drink this water after I see what's down here. Now, right at this particular time, even though you've got 3 pumps here, you're only running on one well, right, today?
Yes, that's correct. This well pump and stuff will be pulled. The wells will be flushed. We'll reinstall new pumps and pipes, and then we have to take samples, send them down to the lab, and get everything ready for the lab. And then once everything comes back absent and everything's clean, we will take and superchlorinate the wells, flush them out, and then we will, once the health department gives us the okay, we'll put the pumps back online.
So people sitting at home don't have to worry about what's going on right here. I think you're being paged over there. So
no, right now the water that you're drinking is just from one well.
But it's all been tested by the health department.
It's all been tested and everything's absent and put back online through the health department.
This is
Kelvin.
Okay, we're being paged here. Is leaking out right there?
right here, yeah, there's a hole. Yes, that's where it was backflowing right out of that right there. So all of the water that was inside our chlorination system would eventually backflow and come right back out that hole. And then we were losing would produce water, and then eventually it would just lose it right through these little holes.
Well, I meant you're at one point pumping good clean water. It's already been chlorinated for you.
That's right. It was double chlorinated.
So what they were saying is that when the off hours, when there's little demand, the water that they had chlorinated would actually leak back down these pipes and back into the wells. So they'd end up pumping that same water over again, and it was water that had been treated, so treated water would be going back. This is because, again, in 19 years the system was put in, and it was long overdue for what's happening here today. Obviously, they'll put themselves on a schedule where it won't be 2027 before they redo it again. They won't wait that long, and it just seems that 2027 seems so far in the future, but 19 years ago, 1989, doesn't sound that long ago. They're kind of cleaning it up here just to show us how close this was to coming apart if this hadn't been pulled up. They're trying to unscrew it from the pump, and a little bit was holding it on, broke off, so it wasn't going to be long before it broke off on its own. So they didn't do this any too soon. As you can see, there isn't, well, we could see there isn't much that is shiny, which would, the shiny part would be the new breakage. And there wasn't much on that end, there that was holding it up. It had corroded right through, and very thin amount of metal was holding that together. Alright, Leon's machine is moved in. He'll be blasting this. And it'll look like this when it starts, and it'll look like this when he finishes. Air pressure. What's he's doing, he's pushing air down there. And it's stirring things up. Disappeared for a moment there. Village of Champlain water plant. They have 3 wells, and they're cleaning out 2 of them here in the fall of 2008. And you can see already what a difference it's made, but you can see little black specks coming up. That is the type of stuff that you find on the side of the pipes here. And there's that same type of stuff is on the casings, inside of the casing, that large well casing that you have there. You can see the black specks coming out, even though the water has cleared up greatly. water is cleared up. You can see the black pebble-sized oxidized pieces coming up. Ian Menard, what exactly are you doing? You're pushing air down there?
We're forcing 150 to 100 pounds of air down into the well to clean the bottom of the well and also get your veins clean. We've had a lot of wells this year that went dry, and we've been able to bring them back by cleaning the veins in the well itself. We've had some that's even had over 100 foot of sludge into them. But we've done a lot this year because on account of we've had a lot of rain. You would think that there'd be a lot of water in the ground and stuff, but still yet we've had quite a few that went dry on us. So
Well, if your vein is plugged, no matter how much water there is, you have to get a vein operated.
once you're clean, you get your water. Right now we had around 150 gallons a minute on this well right here, and now you can tell it keeps increasing as it's going along because it's cleaning the vein out. But the other well that we done last week, right here on this other side, we had around 100 gallons a minute. Now we've got about 300 gallons a minute out of it. So it really does a good job on them.
So that well there is probably doing as much as these two did together before. That one well that you cleaned last week.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's doing about 300 gallons a minute, 300 to 350 gallons a minute. So these are down to about 150, and we're very lucky to get the water cleaned out like that, get the veins cleaned out. But you can see for yourself how what kind of job it does do it, you know.
Well, it didn't take long for the water to get cleaner, but we still see the oxidized parts being coming up here about pebble-sized.
Yeah, that's more or less on the bottom of the well and also coming out of the vein itself. When you're pumping, it gathers into the veins and the veins start plugging up, and this is what happens to a lot of our wells because they're not cleaned or anything. But when we clean them like this, it keeps the vein cleaned up and your well a lot better quality of water we have.
I imagine some of that's on the inside of the casing also, right? Like we saw on the outside of the pipe. On the inside of the casing, you got that same black crud.
Oh yeah, you'll find a lot of this up in the pipes itself, especially in this 4-inch pipe. There's a lot of it. It gathers along the sides of that, and then it breaks away and comes into the water system, and that's what gives us all the dirty water and the stinky water. You know, it smells like rotten eggs and stuff. But mostly it's hardness and iron put together. In this area, you got black iron, and that's what happens, you know.
Ian, looks like we found some black gold here. I see a lot of nuggets.
Yeah, I wish that was black gold. We certainly got plenty of it. And that's the whole foundation of doing this process. Cleans the whole system. That's why we're putting in a galvanized system now. It'll get rid of a lot of that calcifying. It's just a better technology, a better way to do business now.
Okay, well, that's going to wrap up our look here at the Champlain water plant. It's the 22nd day of September 2008. Sometime today, autumn is going to begin, and once the Board of Health clears this well, people will be drinking this nice fresh water here in the village.
That's correct.
Because after this is done, the Board of Health has to give the okay to.
We have to do
it, right?
Correct. We'll flush this today. We'll chlorinate it, leave it in for a minimum of 12 hours, no greater than 24 with chlorination. Then we pump that out. Then we do a freshwater sample. We draw 2 samples, take it to the health department. And before we can even put this back into the system, we have to have clearance from the health department. And that'll take about 24 to 48 hours. So by Friday, by the weekend, both our lines will both be fully operational.
People have so much water they won't know what to do with it all.
That's right.
Thank you.